All right, everyone. Welcome out to another episode of the Pirates Cove Podcast. We got some surprises for you on this podcast, but I got my sidekick, the guy that's with me every week, the Z-Man, Johnny Zavala. Johnny, how you doing?
Doing good.
Wait a minute. You threw a doing good. You threw another doing good? Four, man. We usually have three.
I was
Okay.
four.
I thought I went too many.
Yeah, you must really be doing good. And then we've got the other guy that is going to start coming on the podcast. He hasn't been around too much for baseball, softball, but he's going to start coming on every week with us. It's Big T, Tony Pena. Tony, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, man.
All right. As I said, this is episode 17, and we were covering a lot of baseball and softball. But this week and every week after, we're going to start talking football and volleyball. The two sports are just around the corner. So we want to get to know our players, our football players, our volleyball players. And one way to get to know them is to bring their parents, something that the Cove has not done. First time we're going to do that, and we're going to continue to do that. So we have parents from three of our football players on the podcast to talk about the boys and find out just how big of a fan they are. And so I have Ashley Smith. Ashley, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Ashley is Devin Phillips' mom. We also have Phil and Anita McPherson. How are you guys doing today? All right. They are Ian McPherson's parents. And then we have Tina Kane. Tina, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing wonderful.
That's awesome. Tina is Christian Kane's mother. So thank you guys for spending some time with us here on the Cove. Of course, we have questions for you guys. The Cove and the community wants to know a little bit more about Devin, Ian, and Christian. And so before I pass it over to Tony and Johnny, I do have a question for you guys. And I just kind of want to know from you guys to talk and tell us a little bit about your sons. I've been telling everybody, you've got to be their number one fans, right? Mom and dads are their sons and daughters' number one fans. And so I'd like for you to kind of share a little bit about your son to the community so that they can get to know a little bit more about the boys. And Ashley, I'll start off with you. You can just kind of tell us a little bit about Devin. I know that Devin played youth football. I used to see him here in Rockport when he played youth football. But what else can you tell us about Devin?
Yeah, Devin's been playing since he was in flag football. We had a problem in flag football with getting him to not tackle because he would, whenever we would practice and play with him, he would know down set hut and tackle. So we did start off a little rough with the parents because he would not pull flags, he would tackle all the time. So he definitely learned, but yeah, we're really proud of him. He is an all-around great kid. He plays, this is going to be his second year on varsity. Freshman year, he did get moved up for playoffs, which was exciting. He did go in there, I think, a few times during the playoffs, which had my heart beating a little fast, but he did good. He plays baseball. He's on varsity baseball. Other than that, freshman year, he did play basketball. He decided to go ahead and move a little bit more towards baseball this season and not play basketball, which, but other than that, academic wise, he is in the top 10% of his class. So academics is really important to Devin. He always drives on competition, whether it's on the field or in the classroom. He always wants to, move up and better himself and, just do whatever he can.
Well, Ashley, I'll tell you this. It's fun. I watched him play in youth, and yeah, you're right. He was a go-getter. He'd go get it no matter what. And I saw him last year, obviously, and he had to go both ways. We had some injuries, and this kid played and left it all on the field. And he's just a kid. Whatever you want him to do, he's going to give you 100%. And it's going to be
Right.
very exciting to see him back this year on the field, helping us, win some games. Hopefully we'll win district and just get in and make a deep run in the playoffs. Phil and Danita, I'd ask you to talk to us a little bit about Ian and what's he like?
Well, Ian's been playing football also since flag. He's loved every minute of it. He is a person who asks questions. If he is not understanding what he is supposed to be doing, he always asks questions to all of his coaches to make sure he can get it straight in his head what he has to do. That's what he did all through youth football. He's played soccer. He didn't like it. He's played baseball since he was little bitty. He's now doing powerlifting, which he loves. He has set the school record for squat for 615 pounds, which that was his major goal for him when he saw that board up there with who was number one with squats. He wanted to break that record. He's played basketball for a long time. After freshman year, he stopped playing because I told him you got to choose what sports you're going to excel in. But his love is football. It always has been football. He's just an amazing kid. He's willing to help anybody else that doesn't understand what's going on. He's a motivator. He likes to help people pick their spirits up when they're down, because it's easy for him to get down when they're not doing real well. So, but he's all A academic. He's never given us a minute of problems. He's very conscientious about his other teammates and about his friends. He's not one to go out and run the roads. He doesn't want to have the influence of anybody leading down the wrong path. He stays true and humble. He loves his family. We go fishing all the time, and we're actually going to Ennis, Texas this weekend with a friend to go watch drag racing. And we
Wow.
get to be on the ground floor where they do the about doing that this weekend.
Wow. That's awesome. And we have interviewed Ian here on the Cove during baseball season. We enjoyed the interview and we look forward to having him back at some point during the football season. That's awesome. And we look to see him on the field and help us, possibly get that district title back over to Rockport and get a deep run in that playoffs. That's basically, what the expectation is here at Rockport. Tina, can you tell us, what can you tell us about Christian?
So much to talk about. I guess how I would describe Christian as someone that didn't, looking from the outside in, is he's a fighter. And I don't mean that in a bad way. He didn't play football in the youth. He started in 7th grade, actually. But he was a little guy. Like the coaches told him, Christian, you're not going to be big enough to play it, varsity. You're not going to start. It's not going to happen. And so I think that was like a driving, motivating factor for him. And I wish I had pictures to show and share how he was little and he's worked, and he's into powerlifting as well. So he's just worked hard, and like he goes to the workouts in the morning, then he goes and he picks up all his friends. And so he's not only concerned about him being better, but his friends as well, his teammates as well. And so now to see him, he's buffed out, and I'm like, where did this kid come from? Like, what? And so he's like, when I say he's a fighter, he's had to fight to get where he's at. He's, like I said, in the town. He played basketball for 1 or 2 years, but he fell off that bandwagon. As far as academics, he's he's a very smart child. He's also in the top 10%. He took SATs this past year and scored higher than 90% of the population that took it. So he has lots of colleges reaching out to him wanting to apply. And he's just got a big heart. Like, for instance, Father's Day, we had a friend of ours that came over and he's like, my kids didn't get me nothing for Father's Day. I'm like, I'm so jealous. And he was only kidding around. Well, Christian and his brother went and got him a Father's Day card and a gift card, and just because, like, and they don't even know him that well, they felt bad, and so it's just he's got a good heart as well. Like I said, him wanting to build up his team players too. So it's not just about me. He thinks about the team as well, and he's like a leader. Like, he wants everyone to get better, and it's like he gets mad when someone doesn't show up, but not because for him, like, he didn't show up, he messed us up, but he could be so much more than what he's telling me. I'm like, you need to tell that team player that, that would mean a lot to him. So it's, I think to me, that's the biggest thing, him being a fighter, but not only for him, but for fighting for the team as well.
Absolutely. And that chemistry that these boys have is so critical to the success. And we saw that in Johnny and I covered the softball girls here. And that's one thing when we brought them in, they talked about was that chemistry continually. So that working with each other and building that trust with each other is so critical to the success of every sport for these kids. So I'm glad to hear that the boys are helping each other out this year, and I look forward, man. I enjoy football. I graduated here a few years back. I say it's more than a few years back, but I always supported, even when I was in school, pirate sports. And now that we had the opportunity to put this podcast together, it was something to be able to bring more notice. Bring our athletes work so hard that we want to bring out everything that they're doing and all of the success that they're doing, not only on the field but in the classroom as well. So I appreciate you guys saying a little something about the boys. Johnny, I'll pass it over to you. I know you got some questions for the parents.
Yeah. I wanted to let the community know about, how did this family of football players come together? So I'm going to ask each individually the same question pretty much. I already know some of this, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it anyways. Ashley, how long have you lived in Rockport?
Born and raised.
Born and raised. Where did you graduate from? What year?
I graduated in 2004 from Rockport-Fulton High School.
Danita,
Yes,
how long have you lived in Rockport?
about 19 years.
How many?
19.
19. What brought you to Rockport?
Well, my first husband had passed away, and I came down here to be with my mom, to move down here, and then I met my husband, Phil.
Where did you graduate from and what year?
Haiti High School in 1981.
All right. All right, Phil, I'll turn it over to you. How long have you lived in Rockport?
I got here in 1996.
1996. And what brought you to Rockport?
A tour bus. I was
Tour
touring
bus.
with a country music car. Yes, sir. I was touring with a country music
Interesting.
artist, and I got off the bus in 1996 in Corpus Christi at the Coliseum and decided I was going to stay here. I love it.
Sweet. And where did you graduate from and what year?
Well, the School of Hard Knocks, brother. I left home when I was 15 to go chase my dream. I played music for 13 years and then production after that. So yeah, School of Hard Knocks.
Well, music brought you here to Rockport. What brought you into the high school too? Tina, how long have you lived here in Rockport?
I have been here about 23 years now. Yeah.
And what brought you to Rockport?
God. I would say God is the best answer to that one because I was not in a very good place where I was, so he brought me here, and thank God because I met Daniel, Christian's father, and so the rest is history.
Where'd you go to school at? And what years did you go?
I also do not have an alma mater. My mother passed away when I was very young, so that kind of steered me in a different direction. So yeah, school of hard knocks as well. Hard.
Well, we're all here, one family, once again. You know, that's what brings in Rockport. These parents all come together in one community, and you know, we're one big old family. You know, where it's going to be, you know, that's the way it makes a big team, a great team that you know, that achieve. You know, it's one huge family. It ain't just the players; it's the parents getting together, involved with each other and stuff like that. So I hope to see this through the whole season and stuff like that. Everybody gets to know each other. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on.
Tony, go ahead.
All right. My first question is for Ashley. All right, and I've seen Devin. I've been watching Devin play since he was a kid. What was his motivation to stick with football? I know he's real competitive, but what is it about football that he just stuck with it all these years? I know he's a great baseball player.
I think he just loves the game. I think since the beginning, he's loved the game. And then also what Tina said about, Christian being little and small, Devin had that problem too. I wouldn't call it a problem, but it made him work harder to get to where he wanted to be. So he was always didn't have the size, didn't have the build, but that drive and determination that he would just, wanted to succeed and wanted to, be on top and, all of it. And I think he loves the atmosphere. Like he was just waiting and waiting to get to varsity to have that feeling. Also, my little brother played all sports. And so growing up, Devin, we would take him to all of my brother's games, and whether it was basketball, football, baseball, everything. And so I think just watching him and wanting to be, on that field and do whatever it takes, no matter what size he was, to get to that point.
Tell you what, Devin sure has proven a lot. Because like you said, he was always a small one, but boy, I tell you what, he had a lot of heart, and as a sophomore, being asked to play both ways and going out there and executing, that's some big shoes to fill. So hats off to Devin. The next question is, what are his plans after high school, and what does he want to do athletically, and what does he want to study for?
Well, after high school, his dream is always to go to Texas A&M College Station. That's where he wants to go. He is hoping to get in for baseball. He's working really hard right now. He's playing on a select team, summer ball. So we've been traveling, we've been doing that. He's actually also working this summer too. So he's putting in that time. And then after that, he's not able to go to strength and conditioning because of his job. So he finds time in the evenings to go and work out, and he does it 4 times a week. And so he really wants to put in that time to go to Texas A&M College Station. And then studying wise, we're still working on that. We have talked about it. We've gone through a bunch of different majors, and he's been really utilizing the counselors at the high school. He also likes to talk to people in different kinds of like different kinds of jobs and trades and all that stuff. Like the more, I feel like he thinks the more knowledge he has, it'll steer him in that better direction, in that right direction on what he wants to do. Because right now we don't have a major, but he's still, going into junior year, he still has a minute to figure it out. So yeah, he's just taking it all in and trying to figure out what he wants to major in. But academics is definitely high on his scale. So.
I know he strives hard in the classroom and he is a phenomenal baseball player. And I said that when I saw him in youth, and I was like, wow. I mean, I knew he was a good football player, and I never watched him play baseball until we played against him. I was like, wow. So I'm glad that he has those plans, and best of luck to him. Next question is for Donita and Phil. Ian has one of the biggest hearts on the field. He's an all-around team player, and he has been like that since he was a kid. What is it like watching him week after week, leaving it all on the field?
It's heartbreaking because he's been told many times that he's not good enough, and he puts it all out there on the field, and that makes him angry, and he tries even harder, and he is a fighter. He won't give up. If you tell him he can't do it or he's not good enough, he will fight and make you prove to you that he can do it. And he has made a believer out of a lot of people because too many people told him he wasn't good enough. And he found the coaches that would help him. He's had a lot that have helped him.
I'll tell you what, Ian, as long as I've known him, because I was one of his coaches in youth, he's always been a leader, always to every kid on that team, and a lot of kids look up to him, and really, really, really does play with a lot of heart. He really does. And I know growing up, he wanted to touch the football, he wanted to run the football, but we're like, Ian, we need you on the line. We need you on the line. And he did it, and he did it because that's what we needed. And I mean, we had an undefeated season. I mean, he's had a lot of undefeated seasons.
Yeah,
So
he's a team player. He's a
he
team
really
player.
is. He really is. I really like that kid.
Hey Tony, real quick, Danita and Phil, we had Coach Elizondo on last week just to kind of close. We want to put some closure to the season, right, for our followers and the people that follow the Cove, the community. And we talked about expectations. And one of the things, if you didn't see the podcast, the Coach Elizondo talked highly of Ian as far as his rotation with the pitchers and the role that he plays and how important he is, or how important he was this past year to our success by making it to the playoffs and moving forward, his role and what they look for toward the role that he will play going into the 2022 season. So I know the coaches that I talked to think highly of him. I've heard from Tony, who coached him, how good he is. We've had him on this podcast. Very respectful kid, big kid too. So if he's going to play on the line, we're going to need that right this year. But as far as we're concerned, the things that we hear from the people that have been around him and coached him, it's been nothing but positive that I've heard. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and go with that. And hopefully this year in football for him and in baseball toward the end of the school year, hopefully they'll find much success because these boys put in the time. As you guys are saying, what they're doing, working academically and the workouts to prepare themselves for the sport. So just kind of want to throw that out there that, Ian is working hard and people are noticing the work that he's putting in.
Yes. Thank you.
My next question for Donita and Phil is, what are Ian's plans for after high school?
He is unsure. He was wanting to go to college for years and years. He was wanting to go to play football. But the more he is learning what happens to people in the NFL, the football players, all the problems they have, and things that are being taught in college, that he's a critical thinker. He doesn't, just because you tell him something doesn't mean he's going to believe it. He's going to study it. He's going to think about it. He's going to find information on it to come to an understanding. And some of the things they're teaching in college is bothering him. So he's still up in the air about going to college. He says no right now, but I'm hoping he still does go to college. He is talking about now coming to work with us in our business and actually taking it over one day from us and running it and going there with it. He turns 18 in December, and he is already talking about going and getting his CDL license by when he turns 18. And I'm like, no. But he said yes. So, it's just, so it's, if that's what he wants to do, that's fine. Whatever he wants to do, we'll be there to support him and to help him do what he needs to do.
He'll be fine either way, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Because it's hard.
Phil looks like he's ready to retire.
Yes.
No, that's good. That's good. I mean, definitely picking up a trade is definitely carries the same weight as a degree nowadays. I mean, CDL, I mean, there's a lot of money to be made, whether it's working for the business or doing something else. I mean, there's so many opportunities out there for these kids nowadays that there wasn't, a long time ago. And definitely looking forward to see what he does. And I know Ian's a smart kid, and I know he'll make a good choice. So, and I know he got your support system at the house, so that's good.
Oh, yeah.
My next question is for Tina and David. I know you said Christian didn't play football in youth. What made him want to start playing football?
It's funny because when we talked earlier and I thought about him, what did he never really shared that with me. He just because when his older brother Mark was in football, he would always ask Christian, of course Christian was younger, to go play with him, throw football, and he would always say no. I guess maybe because of his size at the time, I don't know. But when I asked him, he was like, because my family was into it, and I guess seeing his brothers play and every Sunday, we're there watching football, and so he learned to love the game. And I think once he got into it and actually learned that it was more than just tossing the football, and there's so much more in football than, I mean, y'all know how much is involved in the game. I think he just got that passion and it never left him.
Yeah. Well, I know earlier you said you wish you had a picture to show when he was in,
Yes, I do
when he
have
was
on my
small
phone,
to the way he looks now. I tell you what, I remember when he was in junior high and how he wasn't really small, but he was really skinny, and he
Yes.
sure has filled in a lot more, and he's got that little man beard
Oh,
going
yeah.
on. So he looks like a man.
Yeah. And it's got red in it, so it's like his mama.
What is he doing this summer to prepare for his senior year, and what position is he working hard to try to get this year? Do you know any of those things?
So he's really trying hard to get middle linebacker. And things he's doing, like I said, he goes to pick up, it's like 4 or 5 of these boys he picks up. And we don't have a very big car, so they're like friends in the car, they're like a little clown car. But so he gets up extra early, he goes picks up his friends, and they go work out. And then they'll go get something to eat. He eats a lot. That's part of it too. But he eats healthy, I mean, yeah, he has burgers and stuff, but he's always been into health. He only drinks water, like he doesn't drink sodas and all that stuff. But then not only does they do the morning workout, then on their own, 4 or 5, they go in the afternoon about 4 o'clock. Sometimes they work 3 hours, sometimes only an hour, but it's usually not less than 2 hours that they're working out. And he is also working this summer, trying to get all the extra money set aside that he can. And what am I going to need it for? I'm like, trust me, you're going to need some money. So every little bit of money you get, scrounge away. And so every little side job he can pick up when he works with his dad, he's doing that. And to be a senior, he, like I was saying earlier, he has, a lot of colleges reaching out to him. And so he's trying to find, I think these 3 boys have the same thing in common, is he has not decided exactly where he wants to go in life, but he's fortunately been I say gifted with the knowledge of math. Like that's his strongest suit. It just comes naturally to him. So he knows he wants to major either in something in math, something in just math, which so there's a big wide door open that he could find something to major in. But just be in the bed, like they go and they work out, and he not bench, but I don't know which one it is, but he lifted 475 pounds, which is as much as he's ever done before. So it's just him getting better. He's just wanting to get better so he can get that starting position. And I keep reminding him, have fun. It's your last year. Have fun. Enjoy every game, whether it's win or lose. Just enjoy every single game because it's going to be your last year. Because I don't know if he's going to want to play in college.
Well, absolutely, and that's really good advice because I talk to my son a lot, and I talk about when we talk about football and high school in general. These are the memories that you're gonna have forever. The stuff that happens in high school, the memories you make with friends, the memories you make on the field or in the classroom. They're memories that are gonna last forever. I mean, and I know we talked about this last year on the gridiron. But that's really, really good advice to give them, have fun, and really make memories because no matter what, those memories don't go away, especially when you go to a football game as an adult.
Yeah.
And you reminisce on when you did those things at their age, it sticks with you forever. So definitely really good advice for each of you to tell the kids to just have fun because that's what it's all about. Putting in the work is Monday through Thursday, but Friday is time to have fun. You know what I mean? So good advice. That's all I got, Gabriel.
All right. So I think Johnny's got a couple questions, but I'm going to go ahead and throw some of mine in. And so I got one for Ashley. So Ashley, when you attend, first of all, you attend just about every game, correct?
Yeah, I travel with them.
Okay. So when you attend a Rockport football game, are you calm when you sit in the stands or are you constantly yelling?
I would like to think that the only person out there that's louder than I am is probably Johnny. Other than that, I am loud the entire time. I like to cheer. I asked Devin too. I'm like, did you hear me? Did you hear me? He's like, I heard you, Mom. I heard you. I'm like, then why didn't you do what I said? Like, and then Dad also has a very loud, deep voice. So he hears us up there, whether or not he listens to us. I mean, he hears us, but other than Johnny, I want to say I'm the loudest.
Yeah, I have to say, Ashley, that Johnny's the loudest, man. He's got some lungs, man. Let me tell you, we were doing softball and the girls were kind of like, yeah, we don't hear. No, you hear him. There's no way you can hear him. I can hear him from one side of the stadium to the other. So,
I love it. I love it.
I know. So do I. And Devin's got the whole family. It's not just Mom and Dad. I mean, he's got the whole family. There's a section. And so there's no way that he can't hear the family telling him to do certain things, right?
Yeah.
Phil and Danita, I have a question for you guys. After a game, whether it be baseball or football, do you guys talk about the game with Ian when you guys get back home, or once the game's done, it's done till next week?
Oh yeah, we discuss lots of different things about the games that they play. He likes to talk about some of the good hits and stuff he feels like he's done in the game, and he just plays with all heart and he brings it home, whether he wins or loses. He brings it home, and he's really grounded with it. But he also gets down when he loses, like she was saying a while ago. But for the most part, he talks about just the good times of the game. Absolutely.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear. And I know when I played, now I'm a little older, man, so I couldn't play it, but if I wanted to, but basketball was my game, man. And if we lost, I couldn't wait to get back on that court to redeem ourselves. The loss was always personal to me. I mean, I was always against sportsmanship, and I understood But I did not like losing the game, and I knew that was part of what could happen. But if we lost, I couldn't wait. I wanted to get back on that court the next morning. I just wanted to go back and win, because that winning feeling to me was really good. And when I would lose, I didn't settle. It never settled good with me. I always wanted to try harder, and that's the way I raised my kids. Give it everything you got. You're gonna lose at times, right? But boy, I always want to get back on that court if we lost. Tina, I have a question for you. Do you or your husband ever yell at the refs during the game?
I'm surprised I haven't been ejected from the game or from the stands at times.
I need a charger.
Y'all are aware we've had some really bad calls from some of those refs. Like I feel like they didn't pay for us to lose. And I know that's not true, but it feels like that, and when they're going after our kids, it feels like, yeah, you're going to know about it. So, yeah, there's been plenty of times when I'm sure that the refs left early because I had to come out after them after the game. Yeah, I'm pretty civil, though.
But never been ejected from the game so far, right?
No, not yet. My husband's been able to shut up, Tina. Is this enough already?
Hey, I'm going to tell you, Tina, it does. I feel the same thing. I feel like sometimes, boy, those refs are out to get us, man. I know it's probably not true, but it definitely feels like that. Sometimes I watch some games and I'm like, man, these guys are really out to get Rockport, right? But I too yell. Yeah, I yell too. At the heat of the moment, I'll calm myself down before the heat of the moment. I'll say things, and I'm like, man, now I have to be very careful, Tina, because now we're streaming, right? So now anything I say, man, comes out. And of course, I'm like, I got to be really careful. I never use profanity at a game, right? But I do like to yell because I always think I'm right, even though most of the time I'm not. But I'm going to be looking for you this year. I'm going to be looking for Tina because I want to see you guys yell. So I want to be a part of that group and yell with you guys.
You get loud.
Johnny, I'll send it back to you. I know you got a couple of questions for the parents.
Okay. Ashley, we're going to throw it back a little bit. How is this year's football team different from when you were in school? You talk about the teams or the atmosphere or...
I love watching football. Whenever I was in high school, I loved going to the games. I loved sitting in the student section. I think it's a whole different atmosphere, though, whenever your kid is out there playing, rather than just your teammates. Just your classmates and people that you know. We had a pretty good year in 2000. We made it pretty far, and that was really exciting, traveling with them, going to San Antonio, bus rides, all that stuff. It was a lot of fun, but I think that now that my child is out there, I enjoy the game a lot more. I can't wait for Friday night.
Cool. Danita, how is this year's football team different from when you're in school?
When I was in school, I was started at J. Frank Noby High School, and we were in the playoffs all the time. It was exciting. I loved watching the football games. Then I moved to Katy, and not so good. So the football wasn't as exciting then. But now that I have my own son that plays football, it's amazing. I couldn't be more stoked and happy to go to these games and cheer these kids on. It's more fun to have a child playing and being there to yell and scream at everybody and everything going on. And it's a lot different.
Since they were 6-7 years old, and to see them now and where they've come, it's pretty amazing.
I'm going to twist the question up a little bit for Tina.
Okay.
How is this year's football team different from last year's football team?
Well, I think last year, everybody, not just the boys, but everyone was upset and reasonably so about COVID. You know, it disrupted the whole world. And so it didn't feel like, I don't know how to describe it. It kind of felt surreal, right? And so now I feel like the boys maybe have something, you know, they, at least for the seniors, but the whole team, you know, they kind of got cheated out of some of it, really. And now I think that things are opening more, and they've been putting in, like everyone's been saying, they've been putting in so much work. Like they can taste it. Like that one, 2 years ago when it was that one play that could have went either way, you know, they can just, like, it's at the tip of their fingers and they can taste it. And so they're all fighting so hard for it. I think just the drive and determination out of all the boys, and not that they haven't had it in the past, but I think just because of circumstances, like I said, COVID, that have impacted all of us and made us realize, I guess, more important things are more important. And so they're just working maybe twice as hard, or, you know, just even harder to get like past where we've gotten in the past before, or they've gotten in the past before. I think that's the part.
That's what we call it, you know, experience getting into the playoffs. You know, all those years past, you know, they know what it takes. You know, from here on, that's why we're expecting to go past that third round, you know. So we have that experience. We know what it takes. You know, that one little play, like you mentioned, you know, it could have gone either way, you know, but we've been there. We know what it takes. And you know, they're going to be more hungry this year, you know. So Phil, how is this year's football team different from last year's, in your opinion?
Well, I know this. We got a lot of hearts on that team this year. And I know they work really hard. I really don't know that much about the sport. I've never been around it until I started. You know, I see these guys and they work so hard. So, I mean, that's all I can say for them. They got so much heart, and as long as they keep themselves together and play as a team, I think they'll do real well.
I totally agree with that. You know, working together, one full family. So I'm just gonna finish it off, Gabriel. That way you can finish it off yourself. Ashley, what makes you a Pirate fan?
Really, I mean, I've been a Pirate fan my entire life. This is where I was born. This is where I was raised. I've watched, you know, I've watched my brother play. I've watched my sisters play sports. I wasn't very athletic. I won't tell Devin that, but I'll tell him that I was athletic and he got it from me. But yeah, I didn't really play sports, but I just all around. I mean, even working there and being with everyone all the time, and the sense of community, like the boys that are coming up right now that are going to be seniors, like we have played with them and we've known them their entire lives. And so just that sense of home whenever we're out there on the field, because they have been playing since they were in youth and they've known each other and they've had that bond. Everywhere else that I've seen, like Rockport is just home. And so I just, once a Pirate, always a Pirate, I guess.
That's what we all say.
I know.
Tina.
Yes, sir.
What's the most exciting thing about a Pirate football game to you?
You know, thinking about it, I'm like, trying to think, what is the most, I don't know, you know, and then I thought, to me, it's watching the team players and the offense cheering for the defense cheering for the offense, and they just, you know, they're cheering each other on, and you know, when they make the play, and the fans go wild. It's just like she said, it's community, it's family. Like, we're all Pirates, you know, we're all there together cheering each other on. And I think just the camaraderie that the boys have, and the love of the game that everybody in the fans have for each other, just to feel that excitement, I think, to me, is the best part of Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Phil, we all know that Sitton's our rivalry, That's always the biggest game. What would it take, and what would it take for us to beat Sinton, and why? How we're going to beat them, or what is it going to take for us to beat Sinton this year?
They got it. The heart. They play with heart. They got it. They got it. They got it. It's done. It is done. That's all they got to do is play with heart and just keep it together.
And that's going to be a fun, exciting game. I can tell you
Absolutely it is. Can't wait.
that. Revenge from last year.
That's right.
That's all I got, Gabe.
All right, you know what? Johnny came up with the question, so Ashley already answered. So Tina, I'll ask you. Christian gets his athleticism from mom or dad?
Dad. Definitely dad.
Dad. I don't want to start an argument, but you need to feel where does Ian get his athleticism? Mom or dad? I think their camera might have froze a little there. Did you guys hear the question, Phil? All right, I'll come back to them, see if I can get them back on here in a minute. So, Ashley, I've got two more questions, so it'll be for everybody. So, Ashley, I'll go to you first. What's Devin like after a win or a loss, whether it be baseball, football, whatever? But give us an example. What's he like? So after a big win, Devin's like what? After a loss, he's like what at home?
Well, our last year we had started it, and so after every game, we would come and we would sit in the front porch, and he would lay down or lay on the car, and all of us would just sit out here and we would just discuss the game, the highs, the lows, everything. Like he just wanted to replay it all over again. And so losses, I mean, he's very, I would say, he gets very hyped. So he's like, if he's not too tired, then he's like pacing back and forth. He's, using hand movements, like he's like animated. He's all over the place. And then you have other games, like whenever we were done with Miller, he just completely exhausted. He just could not even get up off of the ground. Like he took everything out of him, and yeah, so we have our ritual before, after a win or a loss. We discuss it and we go over it and talk about it. So he's always ready for that next game though too. He loves it. He loves sports.
Yeah, you can see it in him. You can just see it in him. And his body language just tell you, man. And like I said, this kid leaves it all on the field. Whatever is asked of him, win or lose, he's going to leave it all on the field. And that's good to see. And I'm glad that because you got to get it out of your system. When I was an athlete, man, you got it, because if not, it's going to bother you. So it's good that you guys get together and just kind of let it out, whether it's a win or it's a loss. Tina, I would ask you the same question with Christian. What's he like after a big win on any sport, or versus what's he like after a loss?
Well, Christian wears his feelings on his sleeve, and when they lose, he takes it very, very personal, because he feels like, what could I have done better? Maybe it was something I did, and we all know that's not true. We probably all have feelings like that, but he's not the kind that wants to talk. He doesn't want to hash it out. Like he's very silent, like probably for days. And then when he gets ready to talk about it, he'll come and talk about it. But he, I guess, internalizes everything. And I've tried to get him to talk about it, but it doesn't make him angrier when we do. So it's like we've learned that he's going to be sour for 3 days, and then he gets over it. I'm not over it, but he gets past it. And then versus a win, he's then he's going over every play and what he did and what the others did, and hyped up. So yeah, it's very, if they win, it's great. If they lose, it's not so great.
Yeah, absolutely. Do I have Phil and Danita back? Can you guys hear me? I think they were back for just a second and then it froze on them again. So Ashley, then I'll go to the last question that I have for the evening. Give me your predictions on where you think the Rockport-Fulton Pirates football team will be this year. How far will we go this year? Or should I say that?
We're definitely going to state.
Good, good. No, that's what I want to hear. Listen, I have been saying this since last year. We have been stuck in the third round since Coach Cybert's been here. If I'm not mistaken, I'll have to go back and look at my notes, but I think he's been here 8 years. I think this is his 8th year. I could be wrong on that. And every year that he's been here, we've been in the playoffs since his first year here. And we have gotten out of the first round into the second round. And three out of those 8 years, I think, coming up, we've been to the third round 3 times. Now, when I was in school, just getting in the playoffs was big for us. If we could get to the first round, we were successful, and we never really made it to the second round. So being able to see these guys win district and go 3 rounds is great. And in those 3 rounds, twice we were just 1 play away from advancing to the next round. This will be the year that we get there. We've got the players. These players, these seniors have been together for years, right? Like they played. We've got the leadership with these seniors. We got the underclassmen playing, so the leadership is definitely there. I've watched these guys play in youth. I watched them play when they were freshmen. We got a lot of talent on this football team, right? So the expectation will be we'll get past the third round, right? We'll see what happens. But Tina, I'd ask you the same thing. We get past the third round, and are we going to state?
We're going to state, and not only going to state, we're going to be the state champ. State champ.
There you go. There you go. There you go. That's what I like to hear. And this is what we got to do. One thing I don't see a lot of. I'm going to ask you guys this question, Tina, because I think I lost Bill and Danita. But Ashley and Tina, do you guys make posters, signs, posters?
Yeah.
Do you guys do that? Or?
Yes. So we do make signs and posters, and so Devin has a whole room full of stuff that we've made him over, a period of time. So yeah, so if someone else wants to hold it during the game, then they can hold it, my mom or whatever, but because I'm too busy yelling and telling Devin what I need him to do out there. So
no, it's like I said, it's awesome. Right. And we wish these guys well this year. As Phil was saying, these guys put a lot of time. They've got the heart, and we want to see them succeed. And for our seniors this year, definitely want to win district, and we want to be able to advance at least past the third round, right, and see how far we can go. Phil, Danita, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me now? And I had them there for just a split second, and I think they're having some trouble there. So, can you hear me, Phil?
Yes.
Okay. So if you can hear me, answer this question. Ian gets his athleticism from mom or dad. Yes, we can. If you can hear me, the question is, does Ian?
No.
I think it's freezing up on them again. So, hello, can you hear me?
Does Ian what? Yeah. Yes,
does
sir?
Ian get it?
Yes, we got you.
We can see you.
Okay. If you can hear me, the question is, does Ian get his athleticism from mom or dad?
Neither one.
Okay, so where does he get his athleticism from? A brother, an uncle, aunt, an uncle, grandpa?
Cousins. He has a Walt Garrison that played for Dallas Cowboys. That's a cousin. And he has a cousin that is playing for the, I think he's moved now, but he was playing at Texas Tech, but he went to sign with the Arizona Cardinals playing baseball. Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
that's awesome.
See,
That's awesome.
it's cousins. Yes.
Wow. Well, that's great. That's great to hear. Like I said, we're going to be cheering the boys on. We're going to have more parents coming on as we do this every Wednesday. We're definitely going to have Ian, the invitation for Ian and Christian and Devin will be coming at some point throughout the season. So you can let them know that we definitely they're on the list. We don't leave anybody out. Now, if they don't want to come in, that's their choice, right? But the invitation will be extended to all of our athletes in volleyball, football, and every sport that they play sometime throughout the season because we want them on here and we want to get to know them as well. So I would ask you the last question, Danita and Phil. How far is Rockport going this year?
All the way. These kids, most of them have played since flag football. They have played together. They have more heart than anyone out there. They played youth football. They won this championship for youth football, which nobody thought they were going to do. They're a team. They work together. They fight together. They play together. They will go all the way.
We are definitely going all the way. So I'll tell you this, we're
Did
going
you
to win
lose
district.
me? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. We're going to win district. We're going to get past the third round and we'll see if we can get out of the region. That's the expectation. So like we always do on the Cove, I really enjoyed the time with you guys. Thank you for coming out and spending some time and talking about your child with us and letting the community know a little bit more. We're going to continue to do this throughout the season. As we also will be interviewing some coaches and of course, definitely the players. So what we do here on the Cove is we give the parents, the guests, the last words. So Tina, I'll go to you first. Anything you want to say before we say good night?
First of all, go Pirates. Second of all, thank you so much. It was an honor to be able to get on here and brag about my son. I mean, what parent doesn't just cherish that? And I've thoroughly enjoyed getting to hear from you other parents about your children. I love that. It sounds like they all have a lot in common, and just thank you. I appreciate the invitation.
Hey, thank you for spending some time with us and coming on and talking about Christian. We really enjoyed it. Ashley?
Yeah, same. I really appreciate you guys asking me to do this with you guys. I appreciate all the nice words that you guys said last season about Devin. I'm really proud of him. For last year was a whirlwind for us, from seeing, him in the Caller Times and, hearing him on podcast. And then Dave Campbell came out last year. He wasn't even on there. And then this year being recognized top junior and, all that stuff is just, he just has to continue to keep striving for the best, and he's going to go far. So I really appreciate everything that you guys say about Devin. He loves to hear it. I love to hear it. I'm very proud. I'm a proud mom. We're proud parents, proud family. It's a whole family event whenever, when Devin plays a sport and we go out there and watch him. So I appreciate you guys, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for accepting the invitation to come and talk about Devin. I think I've lost Anita and Phil again, but what I will say, are you there?
Here.
All
Yes.
right. So I'll give you the last word, Danita and Phil.
I want to tell you at the Pirate Cove, thank you for all you have done for Rockport-Fulton sports. It is nice to be able to hear from all the parents, from all the athletes, giving them a chance to talk and hear what they have to say. It's amazing. It's really great what y'all have done. I want to shout out to the class of 2022. You guys, you've got this. You've got the heart, you got the mind, you got the spirit. You can go all the way. Just, you got to dig in and go for it. You can do it.
You know what? I'll say this before I turn it over to Tony and Johnny. interviewing the softball girls, because consistently that's who we got to know. That we interviewed some of the boys, but we interviewed all of the softball girls. And the one thing that I didn't really realize, because I'd go to a game and I'd watch a kid, I didn't know who the kid was, so I'd be asking, who is this kid, and the one thing that they have is a support system, which is very important. And you guys coming in here shows a lot of that. These boys, they need that support system at home and motivation to continue to go, because it's hard. I mean, I'm sure these guys just want to quit sometimes. I mean, trying to keep your grades up. There's a lot of pressure on these kids, and just being able to go home and having that support system to keep them going when they don't want to go, even if you love the sport, right? But you tire out. I mean, some of these guys, we talked to Coach Elizondo, Ian, I know, and Devin, they're out playing baseball right now. And when that baseball season's over, just trying to stay within the game to get better next year, they're going to have about a few days off, and they're going to jump into football in 2 days. These guys don't have a summer. And that's what we want to be able to show to the community. What you see on the field and the way they play is great, but the work that's put in there is what's not ever talked about. And that's what we want to be able to bring out to the Cove, here on the Cove, to the community, is to let them know how hard these guys are working to put the best performance they can for us out on the field in any sport that they play. So once again, thank you guys for coming out, the parents. I really appreciate it. Tony and Johnny, I'll give you guys the last word. Tony, you can go first.
Yeah, I just want to do the same as the parents. I want to thank y'all for coming on. I knew about a little bit more about Ian and Devin than I knew about Christian, but I know a little bit about Christian now because of the things that you said, and I know Victor said he's been working out with him this summer as well, so I know he's in there working hard. But again, thank y'all. I can't wait for this season. Like Donita said, these boys and Ashley, these boys been playing since they were little against each other and with each other. And they did win a championship, and I think these boys will go far, and I think getting past the third round is very achievable, and I just look forward to seeing what they're gonna do this year, just go Pirates.
That's right. Sky's the limit for our boys. Johnny?
Yes, Tina. Yeah, I didn't know anything about your son at all. And it was great to hear about. Basically you bragging about him, which is the greatest thing. A parent can do about that. Hearing the story about he wasn't out for the youth sports, but now he's out there. He's making a big old stand there in high school varsity sports. So that's a big step. Going from just a regular kid to something that he's out there. Everybody knows him. Everybody wants to be like him. All these little youth kids want to be like him. So it was great stories about hearing that for him. Ashley, I've seen yours grow up from a backyard. He was always running around.
Yes.
He was always that lazy kid staying inside. I knew he was going to be something. He was always very active, very motivated. So I kind of saw that in him. So being so small, he had that in him. And
Yeah.
Ian, I had him. Having Ian, and I think Coach pitched baseball. I saw that kid. He wanted to learn exactly what you're talking about. He wants to learn, and he was the most disciplined kid. One of the most disciplined kids I ever had in all my years of coaching. So, I saw that the determination that he had in him. So it's one big old family coming together. That's huge. And all your parents said, how far is this team going? Let's go on to state. We all laugh, but hey, you have that heart, and everybody's coming together. It's possible. I'm throwing out the softball girls out there. Rockport softball girls were ranked number 1 the entire season, pretty much. But you know what? They weren't the state champions. A team that never broke the top 20 in the entire state all season won the state championship was Liberty. They never broke the top 20. They ended up the season at number 24, ranked number 24. But came out number 1. Out was not number 3. Out 4, 5. All in 1 week. The same week was out 1, 3, 4, 5. All those teams were knocked out in the third round. So anything can happen. Rankings don't mean nothing. Number 10 sitting. Oh well. Oh well.
Sitting
You know,
who?
Sitting being ranked number 10. You know, oh,
Like
okay,
you're
I get
sitting
that.
who?
I get that. I didn't click right away. Okay, but like I said, rankings mean nothing. Rankings mean nothing. You know, Rockport softball was ranked number 1. They didn't make it past the 3rd round. You know, so those top 10s don't mean nothing. You know, as long as these boys want it, they can get there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right. Look, once a pirate, always a pirate is the way we're going to end it. Right. So I really appreciate once again, Tina, Ashley, Phil, and Danita coming on. And I can almost guarantee that before the season ends, we're going to invite you guys back to the Pirates Cove. We're going to invite other parents, but we definitely want to keep it going throughout the season. And maybe we'll just throw a mom and her baby on the podcast. That'd be fun. Mom and son to come on in because it's fun, you know.
Yeah.
And we want the community to get involved. And the best way to get people to come on the podcast is to for them to be a part of it. And our biggest thing that we do here is it's about supporting our athletes. We don't forget, we have a lot of fun here. We want to pack the stands. We want to, have people out there for football and baseball and just every game, just as loud as we can be, cheering the kids on. But at the end of the day, it's about supporting them, being able to talk about them and anything that they do. And what we decided to do here was once they graduate, to continue to follow them if they're going to play at the next level and continue to stay up with their games. And with technology today, we can do so much. But even when you graduate, we have another podcast that covers college baseball, football. And so we can jump onto that. But also bring them back because the one thing Johnny always talks about in his podcast is coming back when you're done with school and you have the opportunity during the summertime to come back and help our youth, our kids that are still here, give them the knowledge that you had, that you learned from here and help them grow. We've got girls that graduated a few years back that come back and help some of our freshmen and sophomore softball players coming in during the summer and helping them with their game. Really makes a big difference. And so it's all about supporting our youth. That's what we want to do and bring out all their accomplishments here on the coast. So once again, thank you guys very much for coming. And we will be sending you an invite before the football season is over. So once again, thank you. Have a great evening. This podcast for you guys will be uploaded later tonight. So by the time you wake up early in the morning, just go to the YouTube channel. It's Coast to Coast, the Coast and the number 2 Coast. Sports, it's on YouTube. That's our YouTube channel, and that's where you'll see this podcast. But then it'll also be shared to the Pirates Cove Facebook and Twitter page. And if you like it, become a subscriber for us. Going to continue to grow slowly and do a lot better. But hopefully we'll have you guys back on with your baby. So until then, have a great evening. And like we do here on the Pirates Cove, man, peace out. Have a great night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.